your fall garden. So fall is such a great time to be planting veggies, but before you actually plant anything, you should definitely consider a few things. Okay, so you want to consider how much space you have, for number one. If you live in an apartment like myself, you probably don't have enough space to go on a full-scale garden spree, but if you live in a rural or suburban area, you definitely have the space, so you can kind of play around with that. And then you want to consider how much time you have. So if you're working full-time and you only have time to garden in the afternoons or on the weekends, having a larger garden might not be the best option for you, so just consider that. Number three, how many people are you trying to feed with your garden? Do you have a large family? Or are you just trying to do it for a hobby? If you have a larger family, you might have more people who can help you tend to the garden. So number four, you might want to think about what your reason for gardening is. Like I said, is it a hobby? Are you trying to feed a family? Is it just for the fun of it? If it's purely recreational, you can probably get away with just doing a garden box or maybe some small planters. Or if you're really trying to feed a family or you're trying to do canning or freezing for later months, you can definitely grow a larger garden. And then number five, you want to consider the types of vegetables you're going to grow. So different seasons allow for different crops, and that's kind of where the fun begins. So after you kind of thought through those things, your next step is to scout your location for your garden. You'll want to find a spot that has like all day sun, so at least 8 hours, because a lot of your veggies are going to need the sunlight in order to grow and be healthy. And you also want to select a site that has really well draining soil. So if you previously planted a spring garden, most likely you will still be successful in that same location. To prepare an area for your fall garden, you're going to want to pull out any weeds or any of the spring crop that you were growing previously. You want to clear that whole area out. Then you're going to want to spread about 2 to 3 inches of organic compost, organic material. One of our options is the Landscaper's Pride Healthy Soil Compost, and you can just till that into your soil and just help rejuvenate the soil for when you start planting your new crops. Especially in a raised bed, you don't want to skip this step. In addition to the compost, you'll also want to consider adding some more soil to the area. So we've got the Landscaper's Pride Gardener's Magic, one of my favorites. It just helps to add more nutrients and revitalize the soil. And then I would also consider adding some fertilizer, and just the all-purpose Microlife 624 is going to be awesome, and you can read the directions on the side and that'll give you your rate of application, and you'll want to till all 3 of those items into your soil to get started. And after you add your fertilizer, you'll want to kind of space out and plan your beds. So typically, depending on what you're planting, you're going to need to have a little bit of space between each plant. We kind of recommend about 30 to 36 inches between each plant, so that when they grow larger, they have this space and you're not overcrowding them. Next, the trick to establishing a healthy transplant plant like these tomatoes is watering, especially right now through the heat of the summer, because it's so hot. You do not want these to wilt. They'll require about 2 weeks to establish a really good root system and be large enough to support their own growth. Until that time, you might need to water them every single day, like I said, especially through the heat of Texas. And if you don't and they end up drying out, you could definitely stunt their growth for further harvest. However, too much water is also really detrimental to your plants, so you just want to make sure that you're kind of finding that fine balance in between of not enough water and too much water, so somewhere right in the middle. And then comes the fun part. You get to decide what you want to be planting. So plants tend to be categorized into 2 different seasons of crops. So you've got your cool season crop and then your warm season crop. And right now, for your fall garden, we're going to be looking at cool season crops. With so many varieties of vegetables available, you want to be sure you're choosing veggies that are well adapted to the area. So like some of the tomatoes that we just got in right now for the fall veggie sale, we've got Phoenix Heat Set, we've got Tycoon, and both of those are going to be really awesome for heat setters, so they'll tolerate the Texas heat really well. You can also start plants from seeds. This allows you to grow different varieties that might not be sold as transplants, and seeds tend to be very inexpensive. So for your fall garden, this is a time to definitely plant a lot of your leafy greens. So you can check out the Texas A&M AgriLife Extension website. They have a ton of info. They have a planting guide for a better idea of when to plant your plants from seeds or just even from transplants. And this allows you, oh my god, I got lost. I'm sorry. Okay. So you can start plants right now like broccoli, Brussels sprouts, carrots, lettuce, kohlrabi. Okay, so from the website, you can kind of look at their chart and see what to plant. So right now is a really great time to plant broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, carrots, Swiss chard, and a lot of lettuces, a lot of your leafy greens, spinach. So take a look at that if you have any questions about what to plant and when. So very soon we'll be seeing a lot of those leafy greens, like I said. And when you get your transplants or even start your seeds, you'll want to arrange the vegetables in a way that makes the most efficient use of the light that you have in your specific size. So you want to arrange your vegetables in a way that they make the most efficient use of sunlight for your specific space. You'll want to group taller vegetables together on the north side of the garden where they won't shade the shorter veggies. And also you'll want to group the vegetables according to maturity. This makes it easier to replant after removing the veggies of an early crop, such as lettuce or beets, and then you want to plant small, fast-maturing veggies between the larger ones. So that was our introduction to fall gardening, a super brief overview. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any specific questions, please leave them in the comments below, and we'll make another video and respond to you right away.
Thanks for tuning in, guys. Make sure to tune in next week for our next class on houseplant care. And please like us on Facebook, Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube channel.